Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines. We got Brad Garlinghouse on Bloomberg, the XRP plus the Atlas line. You're going to love it. And Jamie Dimon, is he being tapped by the new administration to come in? Somebody roll that beautiful intro. We got so much more.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.47 trillion market cap. The market is off 1.5%. Right now, 63,900 plus for Bitcoin, 3,400 plus for Ethereum. Tether market cap 113 billion plus. We see USDC at 33 billion plus. XRP slipping from the number 6 spot down to the number 8 spot. 57 cents right now as the whole market is kind of retesting at the moment, as the technical analysts like to say. And I know none of you like to hear that talk, but that's what's apparently happening. But you can take solace in the fact that even though we're off by 5.2%, we are still, and I mean still, we are up 27.9% on the 7-day. Come on in. Who's upset about that? Not me. I'll take a retest when I'm still up almost 30% on the 7-day. You can see the range of prices between 57 and 64 cents. Very uncharacteristic for XRP, so still quite a range in the last 24 hours. So we're going to keep our head on a swivel. I do want to remind everybody, look, distributed ledger technology, blockchain, digital assets, all a part of the new future and the new world we're going into in the digital economy. But so is physical gold, which, by the way, has just hit a new high. How about that? Welcome new all-time high for gold. And you could get gold, silver, and all the metals that you could ever want at Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments. All you have to do is email info@milesfranklin.com and put DIG gold, dig gold in the subject box. That's all you have to do, and tell them you want the special pricing list. That's right, not the one that everybody else gets, the one that you and I get. That's what you need to do, and get yourself some metals, because you're going to, it's going to be good. Not financial advice. Look at this. Let me tell you something. Metal Lawman, James Metal Lawman Murphy is going to be on my show tomorrow, and I cannot wait to sit down and talk to him. He has put together the creation of the Commonwealth Unity Fund Super PAC, or Super PAC, I should say, to elect John Deaton to be the next senator of Massachusetts, because he says his sons and all our children deserve to live in a free society. Sometimes we have to fight for freedom. And he says here, if you go into this, he said, well, actually, let me go back. I'm sorry, I missed it there. He says, sometimes we have to fight for freedom. This is one of those times. Stand by for major announcement. Well, hopefully we're going to be able to talk about that major announcement tomorrow, James. That would be super amazing. I want to remind everybody that Ripple has donated $1 million to the Commonwealth Unity Fund new Super PAC to back Mr. John Deaton for senator in Massachusetts. Let me tell you something. We're going to see that happen. I'm going to be standing there watching him get sworn in. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. I'm going to do everything I can, and I hope that you will too, because truth is, God bless James Murphy and John Deaton. A real leader doesn't wait to be called. They just start leading. Please donate what you can directly to johndeatonforsenate.com. If you have maxed out your $6,600 donation, then please donate to the Commonwealth Unity Fund Super PAC for continued support for Deaton for Senate. We will win this for crypto and the great people of Massachusetts. This really is a fight about getting Elizabeth Warren out of there because she's the anti-crypto army general, but it's also because she's a political pawn. She's a political hack. She is a special interest politician these days. And that isn't how she started, but that's certainly what she's become. And it's time for her to go. Let's do what we can. I'm asking you guys, I never ask you for anything. I'm asking you to donate not to me, but to John Deaton, because this isn't just about crypto. This is about the United States of America. Metal Lawman's got it right. 8 days to go until the biggest Bitcoin conference in history, and Donald Trump's going to be there. He's not changing his schedule for nothing, baby. I wish I could too. But I want to remind everybody, Bloomberg puts out an article and calls XRP a little-known cryptocurrency. Oh. Yeah. The same digital asset that's known as a little-known cryptocurrency by Bloomberg was the #2 market cap back in 2018 before being sued by the SEC to slow it down so ETHgate could come into play and give a free pass to Ethereum. Bloomberg, where that tweet at? Trump says he doesn't want to let China or another country take over Bitcoin and crypto industries. Good news here, but it doesn't change my understanding that Bitcoin is a government psyop, and it always will be. The reason I have exposure to it is because BlackRock does. I understand that BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street are the biggest players in the world that actually run the world. Don't believe it, it's still true. And as long as they got exposure to it, I do too. It's not financial advice, I'm just sharing my digital perspectives. Now, with that being said, for Trump to come out this many years later and change his stance on Bitcoin this drastically, a complete 180, and go from rejecting it to embracing it, tells me that it is a government psyop and it is a place of high ground to invest in, a flight to quality, as Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, calls it, because there's going to be a big correction or collapse in the traditional market. This looks like the signal that confirms, in my speculation, that we will see a collapse and Bitcoin is going to be that temporary financial band-aid in the interim. Not financial advice. Bitcoin explained in 23 seconds.
So just to be clear, Bitcoin is a non-sovereign, hard cap supply, global, immutable, decentralized, digital store of value. And that's a lot of different adjectives, but all of them are very important. And what that leads us to is it is a hedge against monetary and fiscal irresponsibility from central banks and governments globally. So,
as I said, it's a government psyop, a financial band-aid for the largest players of the world and their clients. I'm doing what they're doing. I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. It's not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and his 180 stance goes from rejecting Bitcoin to embracing it. Guess who else is doing the same thing? Donald Trump's considering JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon to be his Treasury Secretary of the United States Treasury, and says he's changed his tune on Bitcoin and crypto, says Jamie Dimon. Here's the other signal that tells me it's a giant beta test, government psyop, financial band-aid as we move through this transformation into the digital economy. Don't believe it, it's still true. That's why it has such a small, limited supply, so it could gain value very quickly and attention, so it would get the draw that it's got right now. I'm just curious as what happens to Bitcoin after this financial crisis is over. Again, breaking, Trump says Jamie Dimon has suddenly changed his tune on his anti-Bitcoin stance. That's the kind of thing that happens when you're asked to be the U.S. Treasury Secretary during a financial crisis, and Bitcoin's going to be the financial band-aid, and crypto and digital assets alike. Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I think Bitcoin's cool. And here's the full interview with Brad Garlinghouse on Bloomberg. If you haven't seen it, I just wanted to make sure you have access to it right here. Let me let this spin. There's great stuff in this entire clip. Enjoy.
After calling it a fraud and a disaster waiting to happen. In an interview with Bloomberg Business Week, Trump says if we don't do it, China's going to pick it up. We have a good foundation. It's a baby. It's an infant right now, but I don't want to be responsible for allowing another country to take over this sphere. Joining us now from the Republican National Convention is Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple Labs. Brad will also attend the DNC next month. Brad, what is your message to the RNC and DNC?
Well, my first message is really that this should have never really become a partisan issue. I think all of us should embrace technical innovation, and these are technologies that truly can transform the cost and efficiency of financial transactions particularly. And so our message is really that we as an industry want to be regulated. We want to have the clarity of that regulation, and it's been refreshing to see the Republican Party kind of lean into that as part of their platform.
You've definitely seen crypto move towards President Trump. Why? What is the Biden administration doing that's so wrong that crypto guys don't like it?
Well, I think the primary thing that has happened is, 5 years ago, I was out publicly saying that there wasn't clarity in the rules of the road. And 5 years later, after Ripple was sued by the United States SEC, we still don't have clarity in those rules of the road. And so you have in this administration, in Chair Gensler, the chairman of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, really a fight between the SEC and to some degree the CFTC about who is the regulator of consequence. And Chair Gensler has taken the position that kind of everything is what he calls a digital security or something like that. Judges have ruled against him repeatedly, but this administration has kind of continued that fight against the industry.
What's your conversations that you're having right now with the existing administration? I mean, you referenced some of those lawsuits, and of course, I think it was last July where you at least had that partial victory in that case, and ultimately, more or less, that worked out in your favor, depending on all the legal avenues here. But we talk about an administration that actually seems to now have pulled back. Maybe they got the message, but what conversations are you having with them about the structure of regulations, how they may morph, and how they may change going forward?
Great question.
Yeah. I was actually in Washington, D.C. last Wednesday as part of a crypto roundtable hosted by Rep. Khanna, but attended by Senator Gillibrand as well as Anita Dunn from the White House. And it was, I think, the Democrats realizing that they've kind of gotten behind where the Republican Party and the Republican platform has been as relates to crypto. And I think they were there listening to the industry. Mark Cuban was one of the hosts of that event also. And so I think it was refreshing to start to have that conversation. But as you referenced, this is almost exactly a one-year anniversary of the court case where Ripple was sued by the government. And look, the one thing that the SEC was arguing most vociferously was this idea that XRP, the digital asset that Ripple uses in our technology, was a security. And that was really what they cared about. And what the judge ruled is that XRP is not a security. And that's really been a formative case for the industry. So we're going to continue really clamoring and trying to champion the clarity of regulation. And yeah. I'm hopeful that as we see a changing of the guard, we'll see that.
Sorry, just to clarify, though, I mean, was the ruling, though, it did make a distinction between institutional investors and retail investors, did it not?
What it said actually is that just like if you package up real estate or you package up even pork bellies, if you put those into an investment contract, the investment contract is a security.
Gotcha.
But the ruling was very clear that no matter what, XRP in and of itself is not a security.
Brad, do you agree then with, okay, so the reason why in part that President Trump is pro-crypto is because he doesn't want China to be more crypto than the U.S. Is that actually like a material risk that China would surpass the U.S. in terms of its crypto innovation?
Well, I can't speak to China specifically, but what we are seeing is whether it's the UK, Japan, Singapore, I mean, even the European Union, more than 24 countries have come together to create a framework to provide crypto regulation. They call it MiCA. And what's frustrating as a U.S. company and someone who grew up here in the Midwest, it's frustrating that we as a country can't get that rules, the framework in place, and instead we have this interminable litigation coming from the SEC that really isn't solving the problem. Well, we went to court and spent over $150 million in 3 years of our time arguing that in the court and prevailed. We can't do that with every single token. And so we have been advocating, and there is legislative momentum, both on the Democratic and Republican side of the House. Something passed the House just recently called the FIT 21 Act. The Senate is considering various bills. And certainly with the choice of J.D. Vance as a vice presidential candidate, he personally has put forth language, draft language for a bill that the Senate may or may not consider.
So it's less about the daylight between the regulation of the two parties, and it's more just about Gary Gensler.
Well, certainly Gary Gensler, in my judgment, has been at war with crypto. That is for certain. But it's also I think a tone from the overall Biden administration. The OCC certainly has been anti-crypto. You're seeing other elements of the banking industry really take a kind of an anti-crypto point of view, which hasn't, I don't think, served us well. And to Romaine's question earlier, I think, we as a country have benefited immensely from being the heart and center of the internet. The internet really grew up here in part because we had clear regulatory dynamics in the United States passed in the late 90s. That allowed entrepreneurs to build, that allowed capital to flow in. And I think we've been, seeking that as other countries around the world have leaned into that and provided that clarity. And you're seeing entrepreneurs and capital in this industry flow into other countries instead of the United States.
I am curious, though, Brad, too, when we talk about the regulatory aspects of it, and I understand the policy platform that Trump and, to a certain extent, that J.D. Vance has started to articulate since he got named as VP candidate. But we also know that a lot of the objections to, let's just say, the growth of the crypto space was not just coming from the White House directly. There were concerns raised by the Fed. There were concerns raised by the Treasury. Agencies that, to a certain extent, will have a certain degree of autonomy from anything that comes out of the White House, no matter who is sitting there in the Oval Office.
Listen to him acknowledge very quickly how positive J.D. Vance was an add to the Trump ticket.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that, look, what we are seeing and what we are seeking is clear rules of the road. The vast majority of people I know in the crypto industry are good actors who want to follow the rules. We've been asking for clear rules. And I think, as Alex described earlier, in Chair Gensler, instead of saying, let's codify that, let's sit down, they keep hiring more lawyers to bring more lawsuits. And again, it's just a silly way to approach regulation through enforcement is not the best way to approach this problem. And that's why we've been working with people on Capitol Hill. And again, on both sides of the aisle. It just happens to be this became partisan for maybe good and bad reasons, and you're seeing the Republicans kind of lean into it more so than the Democrats.
We only have about 30 seconds left, Brad, but I am curious here about your relationship with the SEC. Are you in settlement talks at all with the agency right now?
I can't comment on that specifically. Suffice it to say that the ruling has been clear from the judge. There's one final piece, as you referenced, about these investment contracts that were sold to institutions. We expect resolution very soon, but can't predict exactly when the judge will rule there.
All right, Brad, thank you for taking time for us. Brad Garlinghouse, he's the CEO of the crypto company Ripple Labs out there at the RNC.
He sure is, and we appreciate everything he's doing there. And now let's take a look at this. This is two OGs in the XRP community that are always gracious enough to share their technical analysis, and I've been grateful for them for years. And it's just fitting that we take a look at what they see on the charts today. We start with Dark Defender, and Ed Greg Crypto will be next. High all, XRP increased 67.56% from the 0.3814 mark that we were at just recently, and now hitting the 63.78 is where we topped out. And based on this move, the 4-hour time frame structure update is here. Dark Defender says the ABC wave can take 2 days to complete and can extend to 49 cents. Minor resistance at 87 cents before $1.03. I'll make sure to keep you posted. Have a great day. Hope you have a great day too, Dark Defender. And also for Egrad Crypto, who shares with us XRP genuine wake-up line. Yes, the Atlas line, ladies and gentlemen, was breached, but it was just a bear trap. Now, XRP is within the 55 to 58 cent range. A weekly closure in this range will pave the way to test 70 to 75 cents. The genuine wake-up line, fire. Short-term targets, $1.30, $1.50 before a retest of the triangle breakout, which we're going to take a look at this in a second. Then get ready for pure fireworks. First major target, Fibonacci 1.618, which has been a big line on the Fib charts for XRP, $6.40. Stay steady. And we will, right? But here we see the genuine wake-up line right here, and there's where we hit the resistance there. And the final wake-up line, you can see right here, right? And then we have this line going across, just showing a massive line of support and resistance here in the middle. So we're right here hitting that line, right? So we need to be above that 70, and I just call it $1, but 70 to 75 cent range. Things are going to get quite bullish according to the chart. So this is super exciting to watch, even if it's a retest at this point. So I'm super happy with what we're seeing. And I want to shout out both of these OGs. Both of them mean a lot to me on this channel and so many more, just as all of you do as well. And I want you to know you can join us at digitalperspectives.com, and you can join us in the DPMG for a limited time only, because we don't keep this door open very often. If you want to join the DPMG, learn how to use XRP Ledger Automated Market Makers and gap fill knowledge, and use the other library courses in the library, you're welcome to do so. And engage with an incredible community of like-minded investors just like yourself. It is a remarkable place to be. And if you join the DPMG, you get the Freedom Zone for free. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch all of you on the next one.